So we've put together our background here. Now we need to go in and put these things down. We're in the drag and drop. Remember, we're in the drag and drop scene here. I'm going to grab the snake and I'm going to drag it onto the stage. I'm going to go ahead and minimize or make it a little smaller because we don't need him to be that big. Okay. The other thing I want you to do is notice that it is when I click on it, let me go back here. When I click on the snake, let me disable my button. When I click on my snake, he's a button. I want to make sure that he's a movie clip too, and I should have done that first because we want to make sure that this is a movie clip. Then it's the actually, let me cancel that because what I realized is I just pulled the button instance down. I want to grab this snake. If over here's the snake. Oops, that's not snake. Okay, let me switch because I'll grab the monkey here. Here's the monkey, and you'll notice when I grab the monkey, he's the movie clip. And I'm going to just redo this, resize this screen real quick so you can see what's going on here. So I've grabbed the monkey, and he is the movie clip. You'll notice that it says movie clip right here. And we're going to be when we double click on this, we're actually going to put the actions on the button itself. So there's the button, okay? And here we're going to say on, and you know where we're going with this, on press. Now this time what we want to do is we want to say on press. We're going to do the program. And remember, we're going to put something in here. We're going to tell it to do something. On press, and this is where the code goes. What do you want it to do once you press it? And we want to say start drag. Oops. Okay. And then we're going to come here and we're going to go 2 sets of quotation marks and terminate it. So on press, it's going to start the drag. Now we need to do the same thing and say on release, we need it to do something. Let me go back. Parenthesis. On release, and we're going to start it here, and I'm going to put that, go back in here. On release, what do you think we want to do? We want to stop drag, and then we're going to close those and terminate it. So we're saying that on the mouse press, we want to start the drag. On the release, we want to stop the drag. And we want to make sure that that's the action of the button, okay? So I'm going to go back to my drag and drop. So I'm going to go back to the drag and drop here. I'm going to grab this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this. I want to make sure that that works. So I'm going to test the scene. And so here's our mouse. Notice our finger changes. We can grab him. And what do you know? There he is. He's going to sit on his head and he's grabbing his tail. Okay, great. So now we know that that works. So this is your drag and drop exercise. So let's do it again. Boy, that worked perfect. Great. I love it when it works. Okay. Hit Control S. Make sure you save all your hard work because we don't want to have to go back here and do it again. Let's grab our frog. We're going to do the same thing. Here's our frog. Now remember, we can resize these little things, so we're not stuck here. We can. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. We can resize it. Okay. Here's our frog. We're going to pull our frog right over here. Let's go ahead and resize him a little bit. I'm going to grab this again. Okay, I'm clicking on, it's the instance of the movie clip. I'm double clicking because I'm going to drop it on the button properties. I want to make sure it says button. And then remember, we couldn't name it frog. We had to name it frog1. I'm going to go to my actions. And I'm going to say on, remember, parenthesis, press. Okay, this is the start of the program. We're telling it we want it to do something in here, remember? Start, drag, and inside this target, We want it to be just that. We're not giving it a name. We're not telling it to do anything else. We're doing this. Okay? Because we're making, if we were trying to use, if we were going to call a target, we would, or give it a name, we would start drag monkey. But we're not. We're putting it on this button, only this button. Okay, and on release, remember, we get that pop up like that. Parenthesis, open the code, terminate it, and go back into the code. And don't forget, we're going to tell it to stop drag. And we don't have to do anything here because we know we're not telling it anything. We didn't tell it anything here. Okay, we gave it close quotes. And we're going to do the same thing here. Remember, careful, we don't want a semicolon. Or colon, we want a semicolon. Or vice versa. Anyway, so this is it. So we're going to go back out, hit the drag and drop. We're going to test this scene, see if we can, there we go. So we can come in here and put our little frog anywhere we want. You can do this for anything. You can do it for balls. You can do it for shapes. You can, if you're trying to teach a child, we can do interactivity that would allow us to, once a child put a shape over a correct object, it would get feedback. Okay, we can do that kind of programming. This is real basic drag and drop stuff. I mean, this is just as basic and as easy as it gets. But you can have as many drag and drop pieces in here as you want. I would recommend that you have a bigger scene and that you do have an area where you can drag all of these off to the side. Also, since this is designed for students who can't read or kids who can't read, when you enter this scene, you may want some audio here. Let's go ahead and close this. You may want some audio, okay? This is our drag and drop. Right here is our background and our images here. We can put these all on different layers, and let's, why don't we do that? We'll call this background right here. Okay, we're going to add another layer and another layer. So let's make this monkey, and we'll take our monkey here. We'll cut him and put him in here. Hit edit, paste in place. There he is. He's going to have all our button properties. Okay, we click on him, go back in. Yep, he's still got all our button properties. Okay, go back to drag and drop. Here's our frog. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut the frog out of that, and we're going to put him on this layer. And the reason we do this is, like when you work in Photoshop, you want to be able to have as much control over your process and over your project as possible. If I make a mistake, something happens, I'm going to lock my background so I don't move it around accidentally. If something happens, I can just go in and delete this and start all over again. Or maybe I don't want my monkey in there, I can delete it and start again. Whatever's happening, we can see that it's, oops. Okay, we do have enable simple buttons. Whatever's happening, it allows us to go in and make some changes without really having to scuttle the whole project and start from scratch. Hit save often. I don't have to tell you that you probably will do this 3 or 4 times when you do your trace bitmap and end up bringing in pieces over and over and over and over again. So save yourself some headache and some hassle. Also, over here, down on the very bottom, I want you to remember it's also important for us when we're working with our library over here to start really keeping track of stuff. So we're just going to put drag right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my snake and I'm going to put it in my drag envelope. Okay, I want to grab my monkey. I want to grab anything that's going to go in that exercise, and I'm just going to throw it into the drag. It doesn't change anything. It's not going to hurt us in any way. I'm going to do the same thing for Storybook. Okay, I'm going to grab page 1, page 2, and page 3 because we use those, remember, in our Storybook, and I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to go ahead and drop them into the storybook folder. And what this is doing is really just helping us to go in and keep track and do some housekeeping. So that's pretty much what you want to do. You want to really stay on top of your stuff so that you're not stuck with something you may or may not want. Also, our color book, we want to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and make a folder for the color book. And let's just go ahead and drag. We see the train outline, we have tires, swatch, stack, pretty much all this other stuff here is really going to go into that, and we want to make sure that we drag and grab all that stuff and just throw it right there in the color book. Because believe me, you're going to really want to do that and keep track of everything, because before you know it, you're going to just have so much out there. And you just want to go ahead and try and keep track of that. Oops, gosh darn it. So grab all that stuff and drag it into your color book. Now you can start to see that we're really doing really well making, keeping our house clean, so to speak. Okay. Grab those, put them in the color book. And that's pretty much what you want to do. These bitmaps we don't have to use. We don't have to put them anywhere, but I'm going to drag them in there just because, you know what? If I make a mistake, I don't want to have to go back out to the Photoshop and then bring that back in. I don't want to have to screw with it. I just want to go ahead and be able to use it again if I have to. Now my library is nice and clean. I haven't affected my work at all. So if I go in and I test everything, remember our scene, our main page is here. If we were to test this movie, our main page, which is basically blank right now, is going to be what pops up on top. Okay. You can play around with this too and move these around, remember? So we want to do that when we open up our scene window, and we can actually go in and just kind of, because we're going to have a main navigation page, it really doesn't matter what scene goes where, because we'll be able to jump around in between all of that. Okay, I hope this has helped you and given you some good ideas for a drag and drop exercise. I like using the images basically from the book. They're colorful, they go with the theme, and students can really enjoy and play with them and reinforce whatever it is you're trying to teach them. Remember, this could be a game. We can do interactivity with this. If you were trying to put circles into circles and squares into squares, if you're trying to teach a child its shapes, and you put the shape, if it put the correct shape in there, you could have music play, you could have bells and whistles go off. Don't forget, though, in this scene that one of the things you're probably going to want to do is have some audio so that when they click here, it tells them how to play the game or what they're doing. It's your voice. Tell them, you know, this is a drag and drop puzzle, put the monkey wherever you want, or, you know, create the scene in whatever way you want. We can also, one of the options we have is print screen, and it can print its picture. If you did this in line drawings, you could have a child basically put together a whole color page in any way it wants, and then when it prints it, we can have a what we call a print command. And I'll show you how to do that. That'll be another function. We can actually have them print out the scene so that they can color it. They create the scene, they print it out, and they can color it. So it gives us some options. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and if you have any questions, email me.